All right, if you've ever managed a Hyper-V environment, you know that feeling, right? That little bit of dread when you're setting things up manually, just hoping everything goes right. Well, today, we're going to talk about a way to make that process, well, perfect. Let's dive in.
Come on, we've all been there. You spend hours, maybe even days getting a script just right. You hit enter, you lean back, and boom, it all falls apart. Why? A single misplaced comma, a typo in a file path. It's not just annoying, it's a real risk to your entire operation.
And really, this all points back to one fundamental issue, the manual setup problem. You know, it's how things have been done for a long time, but it's absolutely riddled with hidden traps and slowdowns that can make any simple job feel like walking through a minefield.
Yeah, this list probably hits a little too close to home. When you do things by hand, you end up with servers that are supposed to be identical, but they're not. Every little human error is a potential security hole. And let's be honest, it's just plain tedious, doing the same thing over and over. It's almost impossible to audit, and a tiny mistake can cause a massive failure.
But what if you could just eliminate those errors? What if there was a better way? Well, that brings us to the hero of our story today, a tool called CreateV. It was literally built from the ground up to solve exactly these problems.
So the whole idea behind CreateV is what's called an offline-first paradigm. Now that sounds fancy, but what it really means is that it's designed to be completely self-contained. Think of it as air-gapped right out of the box. It doesn't need to be installed, it doesn't need the internet, and there's no database to mess with. This makes it absolutely perfect for high-security environments where you just can't have external connections.
And here's the kicker. The entire tool, everything, all the logic, all the smarts, it all lives inside one single HTML file. That's it. You can run it from a thumb drive, a network share, you name it, and it leaves absolutely no trace on the machine you run it from. How cool is that?
This is where the magic really happens. See, you're not writing a bunch of complicated code. Nope, you're just in a simple web interface, clicking buttons, filling out forms. CreateV is like having a PowerShell expert sitting over your shoulder, translating every single click you make into perfect, flawless script. It's basically infrastructure as code without the massive learning curve. It makes it easy for anyone.
Now, when you build a tool this way, totally self-contained, it leads to some incredible security benefits. And for anyone managing a data center, security isn't just a feature, it's everything.
First off, zero dependencies. Because it's all in that one little file, you don't have to worry about securing a web server or a database. There are no other moving parts to patch or protect. No external components means no external ways for things to go wrong. Your attack surface is practically non-existent.
Second, it's completely stateless. What does that mean? It means no sensitive information about your infrastructure is ever saved. The second you close that browser tab, poof, the entire session is gone like it never happened. It's a clean slate, every single time. No data left behind.
And third, this thing is not a black box. CreateV isn't running some secret commands in the background. It generates clean, easy-to-read PowerShell code that you can look at yourself. This means your engineers can review and understand every single line before it gets executed. That gives you total transparency and, more importantly, trust. But hey, it's not just about spitting out code. It's about generating smart code. CreateV has all these intelligent safeguards built right in that actively prevent those common, really frustrating errors we were talking about before.
Okay, let's look at the real-world difference here. You know how if you accidentally rerun a manual script, you might get a bunch of duplicate VMs? Well, CreateV is what we call idempotent. It knows what's already there and just skips it. Or let's say you're about to accidentally overwrite a virtual disk. CreateV does a pre-flight check and stops you in your tracks. It'll even automatically create a network for you if the one you specified doesn't exist. It's got your back. So what does it actually feel like to use this? How do you go from a blank slate to a perfect deployment script? Well, the whole journey is designed to be super simple. It's really just 4 easy steps. First, you set up your global settings, like where you want your VMs to live. Second, you start defining your virtual machines, CPU, RAM, all that good stuff. And you can just use the tab key to fly through the forms. Third, you export your whole setup as a single JSON file. This is your blueprint. And finally, one click. You generate the final PowerShell script and it's ready to go. So when you put it all together, the security, the smart safeguards, the sheer simplicity, what you get is just a fundamentally better way of doing things. You're taking a process that used to be chaotic and prone to error, and you're making it predictable, repeatable, and, well, perfect. Every time. And that's really the big idea here.
This is about closing that gap between what you want to build and what you actually build. You start with a clear visual plan, and you end up with flawless, predictable code that turns that vision into reality. No guesswork. So it kind of leaves you with a question, doesn't it? With tools like this that can pretty much eliminate human error and guarantee consistency, are you ready to start building your infrastructure with a whole new level of confidence?